Good day, everyone. I am Christine Shar Torres, and we are the Group 6, and we are assigned to tackle about religious relativism. So first, what is relativism? Relativism is sometimes identified or usually by its critics as the thesis that all points of view are equally valid. In ethics, this amounts to saying that all moralities are equally good. In epistemology, it implies that all beliefs or belief systems are equally true. Although there are many different kinds of relativism, they all have two features in common. First, they all assert that one thing, or example the moral values, beauty, knowledge, taste, or meaning, is relative to some particular framework or standpoint. For example, is that the individual subject as a culture, an era, a language, or a conceptual scheme. Second, they all deny that any standpoint is uniquely privileged over all others.
Religious relativism maintains that one religion can be true for one person or culture, but not for another. Different religions have different religious values or beliefs in which they depict their faith to the Almighty One. For example, in Roman Catholic, we have the sign of the cross before starting our prayer, but in other religion, such as, for example, the Latter-day Saints, they do not have the sign of the cross before starting their prayer. Another is one religion don't eat pork or beef, but they are only allowed to eat fish and vegetables. But the other religion is not strict with the foods that one is eating. So every religious beliefs are unique for each religion. Some may think of the divine as Yahweh, Allah, the Trinity, the Tao, or something else. Some also may seek union with God in Christ, nirvana, or approval from God leading to an afterlife of bliss. So since magkaiba man kita ng religious beliefs and religions, it can be concluded that we do not have any religion in common for all of us. So wari kita usala na religious belief para aton or wari kita religion na para aton nga tanan. Here in our country, most of the religion of the people is Roman Catholic, so gamailaan Muslims. But diri kayo sa ganito na kung ano ang damon na religion, amo na sakto, no. We vary for the path we are taking in achieving the salvation or religious truth, because there's more to the religious life than any of us realizes. So every religion is an error when it denies the experience of other religions. Religious beliefs are simply an accident of birth. If a person grows up in America, chances are good that he might become a Christian. If in India, that he will be a Hindu. If in Saudi Arabia, that he will be a Muslim. If what one believes is the product of historical happenstance, the argument goes, no single religious belief can be universally or objectively true. The claim here is not that each religion is true for its believers. It is rather that each religion contains some of the truth by correctly representing the side of God or religious truth it genuinely experiences. The point of the picture might be that each religious tradition deserves respect because it has part of the truth, but it implies equally that the adherents of each religion should be wary of its blind spots and open to the elements of truth in other religions which are missing in their own. Given the pervasiveness of relativism in our society, we ought to briefly consider its implications. One implication, at least on the religious front, is that persuasion is prohibited. On many university campuses, evangelism, the taboo word is proselytizing, is viewed as cramming your religion down someone's throat. Obviously, trying to persuade or evangelize another implies you have truth to proclaim, and that you think your listeners may well be wrong. This brings us to the second implication. To be exclusivistic is to be arrogant. Given the number of different religious beliefs in the world, to claim to know something that others are ignorant of, therefore must be wrong-headed and erroneous. Moreover, exclusive claims, especially about the uniqueness of Christ for salvation, are often confused with Western colonialism and imperialism, nothing more than bigotry and narrow-mindedness of Western imposition of ideas upon unknowing or unwilling hearers. To be sure, non-Christians have in some cases good reason to be critical of us. Christians invite hostility when they shout that Christianity is true and exclusive, and equally loudly proclaim that other views contain no truth at all. Christians can indeed appreciate much of what is true within other faiths. Since all truth is God's trust, moral truths, for instance, can be found outside the Bible. A third implication is that tolerance is the cardinal virtue. To imply that someone is wrong is terribly intolerant, especially when tolerance is popularly but erroneously defined as being open to and accepting of all ideas. In the words of Alan Bloom, openness used to be the virtue that permitted us to seek the good by using reason. It now means accepting everything and denying reason's power.
Relativism has also a destructive effects. First, relativism commits treason. Relativism is a revolt against the objective reality of God. The sheer existence of God creates the possibility of truth. God is the ultimate and final standards for all claims to truth. Who He is, what He wills, what He says is the external, objective standard for measuring all things. When relativism says that there is no standard of truth and falsehood that is valid for everyone, it speaks like an atheist. So, an atheist, dili sila motuo Ginoo. So, it commits treason against God. Number 2, relativism leads to brutal totalitarianism. So, the formula is very simple. When relativism holds sway long enough, everyone begins to do what is right in his own eyes without any regard for submission to truth. In this atmosphere, a society begins to break down. Virtually every structure in a free society nagdepende lang ni siya sa measure of integrity, that is, ang submission to truth. When the chaos of relativism reaches a certain point, the people will welcome any ruler who can bring some semblance of order and security. So, a dictator steps forward and crushes the chaos with absolute control. So, mauto siya ang duha ka destructive effects sa relativism. Kadtong relativism commits treason, and relativism leads to brutal totalitarianism. That concludes our topic for tonight. Thank you.